All right. Good evening once again. Welcome you all. So we just a quick recap on what we did last time. So we did not really did more practical. I think it was towards the end that we tried to learn data entry, and also learn how to write some of the query formula. The whole of that class was actually planned to expose us to the basic aspects of Microsoft Excel as one of the data analytics recommended tool. So I wanted us to understand the environments and also how to key in values where necessary. Or like I told us before, the role of a data analyst is not actually on data entry. So there could have been a department or an individual, someone who is probably given the duty of entering data or data collection before the data analyst can come in. So what we are going to learn in this section, I'll be going over some basic operations which falls under exploratory analysis, but I'm going to be using some basic functions of Excel to explain that to us, and then towards the end of this session, I will now go into data wrangling and also show us how we can actually download workable data from an open source. Okay, so we need value to practicalize some of the basic application of Excel which still align with data analysis. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to call in. So I'm going to bring out a data set, and then I'll use that data to communicate these basic functions to us. So let me call in one of the data sets. Yeah. So let's assume that you are given a data set like this, and you are asked to perform some analysis tasks using Excel basic functions. Now, I started by saying that these are basic functions that ordinarily are made for every user of Excel, not limited to data analysts. But we are going to look at them beyond data analysis or beyond just the general application. We are going to see how these same simple functions can be used to draw meaningful insights from a given data that can influence decision making. So I'm going to start with the general Excel statistical functions, how we can use them to draw insights from a given data set, like the one I have on the screen. I'm going to start with the sum. So I'm taking this as my data, It's just a second. So I'm taking this as my data sheet. And then I want to add another sheet where I'll be writing probably the questions. Or this is going to serve as my analysis dashboard. Remember, in our last class, I told us that the way you are expected to work as a data analyst is to have a separate interface where you collate or assemble all the insights you must have derived from the given data set. So I'm going to name this as my, let me call it analysis dashboard. Analysis dashboard. Now, like I said, I'm starting with the sum function. So how do we define the sum function? So the sum function is one of the Excel basic statistical function. That is, this set of functions that I want to show us how you can use them to perform descriptive analysis falls under statistical functions. So as the name implies, sum, it is used to sum up or to add up values, either in a column or in a row. So remember that we have already settled some of these terms that I'm using. We all know what is called a column, and we all know what is called row from the last class. All right, I hope you guys can hear me. Please let me get a response. Someone. Is my audio very clear, please? I want to know.
Yes. Yeah,
Or,
it's okay. Excuse me.
yeah, I can
Is
hear
it
you.
possible dropping the data set on the group for
Yes.
us to have it? Because if we can be going along while you are doing so, is it possible?
Yes, I will do that, but in a training like this, there is time for you to practice. You cannot practice at the same time listen effectively. So what will happen is that once I have performed some analysis, I will hold on for you guys to work for some time, then I will forward the data to you. But for now, just pay attention and note down all the necessary steps that you need to note down. So I will load the data once I observe that break, please. All right. So like I was saying, general user of Excel, we just learn this function like if somebody give you value written in different sets like this. Let's say you have sets of values like this, and you want to sum them up. You want to know the total of these entries or these values. So the general user will just type equals to as a sum and then highlight the range and press enter. So that is what they know this particular function to be. But for us as data analysts, we can actually use it to answer so many exploratory questions. In other words, questions that will lead to drawing some possible insights from the data that could influence or guide either an individual or an organization in terms of decision making. So the first thing we do, which I highlighted in one of the class, I guess it should be the first class, that when we are given data like this as data analysts, we are meant to go through to understand the data before we start performing our analysis. So the approaches are one, when you are given data, the first thing is for you to understand it. After understanding the data, the next step is for you to clean up the data where necessary. It is that process of trying to understand the data that you eventually find some errors in some instances. Now, if there's no error, then you can now proceed with your analysis. So that is how we work as data analysts. So I'm going to assume that this data is perfect because I can see that all the cell has value. But nevertheless, as we proceed, we are still going to run some functions to check if there are some cells within a column that are empty. Right now, coming back to the sum, this is an inventory data set. I have the following heading, but I'm going to focus more on this gross income because it will make more sense to me. And I know that the organization that have this data, we want most of my analysis to be channeled to this particular column because this is what talks about the income they generate. So for example, we are asked to, the company wants to know the total generated income, the total generated income. So let's say we are relating it with the city. So we have 3 different cities where this particular gross income were generated from. The first one is Yangon, the second one is Naypyidaw, and then I know we have Mandalay. So this question is not talking about you finding the income generated for only Yangon or Naypyidaw. This question is simply saying that we want to know the total gross income generated. So this is the kind of question where you use the sum, because using the sum only does not imply a condition. So we use it when you are summarizing all values, either in a column or row. That is when you use the sum. So the analysis question I am answering is, so I will just come to my dashboard, like I told us, this is where all your insight should be assembled. So you need to explain your questions. Let's say Q1, I want to merge some cell together in order to write the question. So I have highlighted the number of cells I want to merge, and then I'll go to my home tab and then click on merge center. In other words, it will merge those selected cells and centralize whatever entry that will come in that cell. So what is the question? The question is what is the total income? What is the total income from all the cities? So let's say this is the question, total gross income from all the city, Now, like I told us the other time, formatting is very essential because it improves the appearance of your presentation. So there's a need for us to, which is still part of the basic. So we format the whole of this probably with a more visible color and then bold it if possible, then increase the size. So indirectly, I'm using all these operations to explain some of these basic things you should know. Then I want to give this particular cell a unique background color in order to differentiate it from the question itself. So I can come to this bucket to give it what? Cell field, that is background color, and then of course, change the text color, then I can bold and also increase it. So this is the question. Now the answer will be outputted here. The total income from all the city. Now, this is where I am to write the function sum. So I'll simply type equals to and type what? SUM. And then once you type any of the inbuilt function, once you type the keyword, let's say SU, all the functions that has those keywords will be displayed just like you can have it. Now, if the one you are looking for is among the listed option, all you need is just to double click on it to complete the function. Now, if you don't want to double click, you can as well hit the shift button on your keyboard and then press letter 9. That will give you the opening bracket. Now, the syntax of the function says what? You want to add number, for example, number 1, number 2, number 3, and so on. So you have to give a cell the range. The range. The range means what? From where to where you want me to sum up the values. So the values are not in this particular sheet. So this is called a cell intersheet referencing. A cell intersheet referencing, which means that you are writing your function in one sheet and you are referencing values in another sheet. So what you do, once you have activated the function, you switch back to the database or to the data sheet and then call the entire range of the gross income, because that is the question we want to answer. Now, there are two ways you can actually define the range. One of them will generate a longer query or range, while the other one will generate a shorter one. Now, this is how it works. If you click on letter P, like this, you can see how it interpreted it, P to P. So this one is shorter. Now, selecting that letter P, it means that you have grabbed all the values in that word column, including where you have value and the empty cell. You can see it, and the empty cell. So which means that this application you are developing in your dashboard sheet is going to be an automated app. That is, once values come into this empty selected cell, their calculation will reflect in your dashboard. That is what it means. And that should be the standard. You don't stop except if this data set has been concluded. Sorry. Except if the data set has been concluded. But if it is an ongoing data entry, then you have to give room for the future entry. And that is the reason why I selected what? The P, so that you capture everything. And then I will press enter because there is no condition required here, because the question says all. So once I hit enter, the answer will be outputted in my dashboard sheet, because that is where I entered the function. So I'll press enter here. And please don't make the mistake of going back there after selecting your range to press enter. It means you have changed the location. So Excel will now be looking for this value in the switchboard sheet. So the best thing is for you to press enter while you are here, and then the answer will be outputted here. So this is the total gross income generated from all the cities, So this is the application of some function without condition or without criteria. And like I told us before, that this falls under basic Excel statistical function. So that is, I hope you have copied the formula. So just to interpret this formula, the sum is the function name, while the data is the name of the sheet where you have the range of value that you added together. That is what it means. So the next basic statistical function that I want to also show us how you can apply it in data analysis is the count, because there is what we call executive reports. At the end of all your analysis, you are expected to what? To draw your conclusion, which is also referred to as the final report. So it is that final report that you tender to the company. All right, the company will not even be interested in even seeing your workings. They are not interested. What they want to see at the end of the day is a summary, of all your analysis. Now, when you are drawing your conclusions, there are two key things that we observe. One is observation. Your report should constitute what? Observation. And if necessary, you could have recommendation. Now, it is not all analysis that leads to recommendation, but all analysis definitely what leads to what? Observation. You must observe something. You must bring out something from the data. If not, it's as good as you have not done anything. So those things that they could not see. So you have deployed some function to think critically, like we established from the beginning, to think deeply into the data and be able to bring out things that they could not see ordinarily, because you have the technical skills, you know the function, just like I just employed this very one, and then within few seconds, it was able to generate this for us. So what this have saved the company from, just imagine if the company is still going manual. They have to be punching calculator, punch this, punch this, punch this. Imagine how long it will take them before they can add up all the value. That is what you and I did within what? Few seconds. Now, sometimes they also want to know the total numbers of transactions that generated this. That will give them a clearer insight to make effective decision, because everything we are doing is about making effective and smart decision. So all your analysis should have a way of helping them, helping an organization or the individual you are analyzing the data for to make smart decision. So you must do everything possible to make sure that all your findings should give them direction. So I just felt that displaying the total gross income will not really guide them effectively in terms of decision making. But if I add counting analysis, if I also show them that, oh, this sum that you are seeing here, so number of transactions generated is, I just believe that we have a way of guiding them better than instead of what? Just showing them this. So let's answer that question. So that is going to be question 2. So see what I'm going to do. I'm just going to autofill this, and that will give me what? Number 2 label. And then I will just autofill this. That will also replicate that. So what I will do is just to click here and change it from, initially it was what is the total, but now it's going to be what? How many? Let me maintain the same case. How many? I can say record or transaction. How many entries? You can also use this. How many entries are generated? The total sum above. So total sum above. So I can click here to expand this, and then I can adjust this a little. Now, let me also adjust this. So this question, once you hear how many, that is a question that involves counting. Sometimes the way the question sound will inform you the function to use when you are running your analysis. So that will now take us to the second function, which is count. All these set of functions that I'm talking about, they do not need criteria. We are coming to the ones that require criteria very soon. So they do not need criteria. So now, how do I answer that question? Now, equals to counts, then open the bracket as well. And then the function is asking for specification of the value. In other words, the range. From where to where do you want me to count? So I am going to switch back to the data source. And then from there, I will now specify the range. So the range is this. So I'll do the same thing by selecting the P, in other words, to give room for future entry, and then I'll press enter. So we have 1,000 record that generated what, or 1,000 transactions that generated this particular figure. So you can see how we are getting our report. So at the end of the day, you put all this in proper context. For example, you go to PowerPoint or you go to Microsoft Word or use any other text editor, you now summarize everything. That after your analysis, these are your observations. I observe that the total income generated from all the city is this, and the total number of transactions is this. So all of them, you capture them like that, and that will form your final report. Do we have any question? Do we have any questions? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause here and forward the data set to us for those of us that do not have it, and then so that you can spend at least, I'll give us just 10 minutes to be able to answer these same two questions before I proceed. But do we have questions first? Please, if you have questions, kindly unmute and speak out. Let's resolve that before I forward you the data set. Any question? Okay, so I will assume there's no question. So let me forward us. I know some of us have the data already. Just give me a few minutes so that I can send you the data. Make sure that you type it. It's very important. All right, so let's proceed, please. So we still have some basic function. Now, the next function I want to show us is count A. Count A. Count A is a function which is different from ordinary counts. So at what point can I use count A? Now, the difference between the counts and the one with A is that this one can only count integer or float numbers. Now, the A means what? Count any type of data. For example, when we counted this, our criteria range for the counting was the selection of the values under P column. And if you look at the values under P column, they are floating number. In other words, any number that has decimal point or unit in programming is referred to as what? Float number. Now, if you select this range, let's say you want to count the total products. The company wants to know the total products. That count function will output 0 because that function is not meant to count strings. Strings in programming means what? Text-based data type. So these are simply text. So you can only use the count where you have integer, number, or float number. So let's say we want to base our counting here. That is when you will use the count A. Well, let me just try it so that you see the application. Let's say I want to repeat what I've done here, but this time around, I want to select a string argument. So count, and then I go back to my data and then select F, where I have a series of strings. If I press enter, it will output what? 0, which means that I could not see any value to count. That is what it means. But we should know that the reason why it outputted 0 because of the type of count you use without considering the type of value you are counting. So whenever you are counting string, please, all you need is to add A to that count. So let me just add A and press enter. It will output what? This number. All right. So I believe it must have added 1 because When you say count A, it counted the header. But the other one jumped this gross income. It did not count it because that function is meant to count only number. That is why it exempted this. But when you use count A, it counted the what? The product line. That is why we are having 1001 over there. So I just want us to understand that there's difference between count A and count. So this is still part of the basic. Now, another one I want us to learn is count blank. Now, count blank is very important to us as data analysts, particularly when you are working with information. Now, let me cite a perfect scenario where you will use that count blank. For example, you have a voluminous data set like this, very large data set, and probably your account is not balancing, and you are like troubleshooting where could the problem be. It could be that the person that entered data forgot to type a particular, maybe he or she left one of the cell empty like this. That is the reason why the account is not balancing. So how do you now check? Instead of you scrolling within that column or within that row, checking for missing value or empty cell, you can use this function called count what? Blank, which only counts blank cell without value. So let's say we want to check, because this falls under data cleaning or data inspection, where you are trying to study to understand the data you are given to analyze. You want to be assured that everything is okay. There is no missing value. So you can use this function to check. If it outputs 0, it means that what? All the cells are occupied with values. If it outputs 1, it means that what? There is one missing value. So that is the data analysis what? Application angle of it. So it gives you that confidence that all the cells are filled up. So now let's look at it here. So I will just drag this like I did the other time to give me the question 3, and then drag the whole of this down to replicate that right up. And then I will now come here and change the question I want to answer. So the question is what? Check for missing or empty cells. So just to specify under which column do I want to check for empty cell, I can just say within gross income. That is where I want to check for missing value. So I'll put it here and then equals to, of course, like I've told you before, equals to is a rule to state that you are entering what? Formula. Then you type what? Count blank. So what that we do is also asking you for a range, that from where to where do you want me to check for missing value. And like we have already specified, we are interested in checking for that within the gross income column. So I will switch to my data set, and then this time around, I'm not going to use Q. I'm not going to select the alphabet rather, because if I select the alphabet, I am actually referencing all the empty cells. So definitely that is going to output so many empty cells, and that will not really give me the expected output. So I will change it to another way you can select limited what? Cells range. That selecting the alphabet means you are selecting all the what? The cell within that column. So if I want to select from the first record to the last record, I will just click on the first record like this, and then hold down the Control and the Shift button on my keyboard, and then press the down arrow button. So what that we do is that we select only the used cells. In other words, cells that have value. So if I press enter here, you see that it output what? 0, which means that what? All the cells there are occupied with value. Now let's go and check something. Let's go and deliberately delete one value and see whether here we automate to what? 1 empty cell. So now remember, this was the range we selected, this particular range. So let me delete one value here and then go back to my dashboard. You see it updated to what? 1, which means that what? There is one cell within that highlighted range without value. I hope we are following. Please, can I get a response from at least one? Okay.
Yes.
All right. So now we want to perform another one, which is the one I want to show us now is also very important. We understand it. But let me take us to the data set, because like I told us, we are not just learning this, we are learning this function. At the same time, we are aligning them with how can a data analyst use them to perform valid analysis. Now, like I showed us before, if you look at city column here, we have Yangon as one of the city. We have Napite, we have Mandalay. Well, let's assume that the data is much, that you want to know the unique, how many unique cities are recorded here. So in other words, you want to know this particular data set, because this, as I can see it, is a central data that was put together from different city. So now, but we want to know how many unique cities are in this data set, so that we'll know the city where the company is actually operating. So instead of me manually counting Yangon, and then I will check, I can deploy a function to do that for me. So let's go to our dashboard and list out the tasks. So the task we want to perform here is, just come to my formula bar. Remember that I've explained all this in our previous class. The question is, how many which one am I editing? I'm editing the wrong one. How many unique cities in the data set? How many unique cities in the data set? So here you are going to involve count function. And this count function can only work for you if you are using Excel 2019 and above. If you are using Excel 2010, 2013, most of these functions will not work, particularly this one, because these are new added functions. So this is where I want to output the value or the result. So I will start by typing count first. After you have typed that count, you open the bracket. Inside the count, you enter another sub function called what? Unique. Unique, and then you open the bracket. You open the bracket, and then you define the range. The range, remember, we want to check for a unique value here, right? So that is the range. Then you have to close the bracket. Remember that there are two brackets, you open them. So now you can see that it outputted 0. Now, why did it output 0? It means that the function is not recognized on this sheet. So you can try it on your own. I think this is, let me check the version I am running. This is 2019. So you can find it if once you type it and it did not pop up, it means that it's not in this particular version. But you can try it if you are using a version above 2019. That is where you can get it done. Now, just write down the center. If you are running a set 2020, it should be able to work for you, or 2021. So just for us to know that there is a function like that. Now, the next basic function I want to explain is average. Average function is another basic statistical function that can actually answer valid analysis question. So, for example, which question?
Excuse me.
I'm with you, sir.
Can you come back to that, the previous one? How many unique cities?
Yeah, I deleted it.
The formulas again.
Yeah, the formula is equals to count, then you are nesting unique as a sub function inside it before you define the range, and then you close the two brackets. So you can see that the moment it shows this red, it means that it's not there. If not, as soon as you type it, will have just pop it up. So which version you are running, if you can just confirm it and get back to us so I can proceed.
I think it
Have you got to
should
the
be.
question? Have you got to the formula now? I want to erase it.
Yeah, I've gotten
Oh,
it.
okay. So I want us to look at average. Average is another basic statistical function that can be used to answer analysis question. So what kind of question? You know, the difference between sum and average. Sum, we add all the range values. But average, we add them together and divide them by the number of what? Entries. So that's the difference between average and what? Sum. So the question we want to answer, the company wants to know, analyze, let me change it, analyze the total average gross income. Gross income. That is the question. So if we go back to our data set, the company wants you to analyze the total average of all the values here, which means that what the addition of all the value divided by the what? That 1,000. So if you want to get it, I will show you how we can check some of this. So this is where you enter the what? The question, the formula. So average is a formula. Average. What is the range? So you switch to your data set and capture everything you have here. So let me also capture everything because of future entry. Now I press what? Enter. So this is the average. Look at what happened here. This is the sum. This is the average. Now, if I want to confirm it mathematically, I'll take the value here, divide it by 1,000. So how do I take it? I'll put equals to here, take the value here, divide it by 1,000. By 1,000. You see that what? It will give you this value. So which means that what? The function actually know what it did. Is that clear, please? Let me get a response before I proceed.
Yeah.
Okay, so make sure that you sit down with the video when it gets to you. Replicate all these things before the next class. It's very important we practice. Practice makes perfect. It's very important. Now, we are done with the basic. The basic. Now we want to go a little bit intermediate. Not really too advanced, but intermediate. And these are still statistical functions, but this time around intermediate. Now, these intermediate functions, they are most used for data analysis than the general one. Now, we are going to see how the questions will be reconstructed. So let me merge the whole of this like I did the other time, merge everything, and then write, let's say, category. To use capital letters. Category B, analysis. Hold it, let me increase it. Now, like I said, we want to look at some of the intermediate statistical functions that can also be used to answer a valid analysis question. Now, look at this here. Now, I'm taking us back to the data. What we did initially, the question says, what is the total sum of gross income? That was what we outputted here. Now, this is not enough to make effective decision. If the company wants to know, probably they have like 1 billion naira and they want to distribute it based on the performance of their sales across these 3 cities. So how would they be guided to know which of the city they are to allocate the higher percentage of their capital into? So they will not be able to make such decision effectively without knowing the income generated from each of these cities, and then they will not be able to know which one is trending than the other. They will not be able to distribute their capital very well. And once that could not be done, it means that it's just trial by error business. They might end up investing wrongly. That is why they need you and I to be able to to look at their current data and then study the behavior, because what I want to actually analyze now is like knowing the behavior, the sales behavior across the city. So the first question, we are going back to the sum, but this time around, we are adding if statements. So instead of sum, the first one I want to look at is sum if. Sum if. So the word if there is a conditional statement. That means that a criteria is required. A criteria is required. So if the criteria is not met, then it's not going to sum. Unlike the first one that added everything without criteria. So what is the first analysis question here? The first analysis question here is, so I'm going to merge here also. For those of us that joined late, some of the things that we did before you joined, that I'm repeating now. So I want to collapse all these cells and then to one cell so that I can write my analysis description or question there. So the question is that what? Analyze the sum total, putting this in quotes, gross income per city. So this time around, this is the total income generated from all the 3 cities. But now you are to give a breakdown. Tell us in this value, the percentage of Yangon, the percentage of Mandalay, and the percentage of Naypyidaw. So that is the question. So which means that you are actually performing what we call categorical label data. Categorical label data. How did I know that it's categorical label data? Because Yangon is different from what? We have some set of transactions that can be grouped under Yangon. We have another set of transactions that can be grouped under what? Mandalay. So that makes it what? Categorical what? Analysis. And apart from that, you are going to come up with comparison what? Analysis. So this is where at the end of the day, you must be able to point out the trend, the pattern, and the outlier. Because within the 3 cities, after my output, I should be able to write in my general report or my final report, I should be able to tell the company that after my analysis, these are the breakdown. Yangon did better than what? Mandalay, with the difference of this. So that difference is the correlation. Is also called the outliers. So let's go there.
Now, which means that we have to start by, first of all, listing out the unique variables, the unique cities. So I'll go to the data sets. Ordinarily, I can type them, but as an expert, I know that what I want to type over there have already been imputed in the data source. So why will I waste my time? So I will just capture everything I have here like this, Control C, and then go back to my dashboard and then paste, Control V. Now, while you are getting this, you cannot paste this here because the copy area and the paste area are not the same size. Because of the way I selected it, I deliberately did it that way so that when you start having issue, you know why you are having that error message. The reason is that you specify here that everything, the number of rows you have here is equal to the number of rows you have here. Well, you are saying that the pasting should start from here. So which means that what you selected is more than the space available you want to paste it. So you don't select that way. You change your selection method from using the alphabet. Click on the city and hold down the control button, then hit the down arrow button like I did the other time. So Control C to copy everything, then go back to your dashboard, then Control V to paste. Now, what we actually want is unique city. In other words, all the transactions made from Yangon City in that data set should be represented with just one Yangon. All the ones from Napitel should be represented with one. So I only need 3 cities here, not repeating them. So which means that we have to learn how to remove duplicates, which is part of data cleaning. How do I remove the duplicates? So you get the range selected just like the way I have selected the entire range now. So the next thing I'm going to do is to go to data tab like this. Come to data tab, and then you see this command here, remove what? Duplicate. So once I click, you get a notification telling you the column where the values, where the program have detected duplicates as situated. So once you confirm it, yes, they are in column C, as you can see here. You click OK, then you get a reply that 997 duplicate values are found, and remove what? 4 unique value remaining. What are the 4 unique values? City is 1, and then the 3 that you want. And then with this, you have listed out the unique city because you are performing categorical analysis, comparison analysis. Now, I will now come here and define the header that dictates the question. The question says the total sum of the gross income per city. Now you have listed out the city. So here should be what? Total sum. That is what should be your header. So once you have done that, then we can now write our function here, equals to. So this is where you bring in the sum if, because this is conditional summing. It will only sum where the condition is met. So you double click. Now I want us to carefully look at the syntax. The syntax is quite different from the first one, so we should know that. So let's start by understanding the syntax. The first parameter, well, let me explain this. I believe I must have explained that, but let me recap again. Now, if you look at this, is a function. This bracket is called the parenthesis bracket. Everything you put inside the bracket could be referred to as what? The function input. The function input. What is the function input? Every function needs data to work with. So once you have activated it, you have to give what the function should work with. That is what is simply telling you and I that I need range. And then after range, I also need criteria before I can perform what? The summation. So what is going to represent our range here? Our range here is the selection of the cells where you have the criteria value. What is the criteria value? The criteria value is Yangon, which means that what at the moment you want to sum up what gross income for only Yangon. So where that Yangon is entered in your data is the range. So now how do I capture it? I have to switch to my data and then call this range. This is where the Yangon as the criteria for the summation is. So I will select it, then put comma. Now, once you add your comma, you can see that what the focus has shifted to what criteria, which means you have already supplied what your range. So which means that this criteria is that, okay, which of the city within this range that you selected, you want us to use to sum up the values in gross income. That is what the program is asking you. Now, remember that we have listed them in our dashboard, the unique city. So I'll come here and pick this city. That is what, at the moment, take Yangon, trace the value of it to what gross income, then add the value. But we have to also pass in the numerical value to sum up because the function can only add numbers. It cannot add tests. Okay? So we have to supply that argument after inserting what? A comma. Which is the what? The sum range. The sum range. So I'll go back to the data set and capture what? Everything I have here. So what we are saying is that what? The value here are to be what? Sum up. Based on if that value is traced like this, and then when it comes to city, what you have there is Yangon. So it's not going to add this, because if you trace this, that is not equal to Yangon. Then if you trace this, that is equal to Yangon. So it will only look for value under gross income that when they are traced to the city column is equal to what? Yangon. Now you press your enter from here, and then this is a summation. That is within this value, 15,000 plus, only Yangon generated what? This profit. Now, the good thing is that you don't need to come here and start the entire process. You should know that Excel has AI that can take care of it. So just click on this one, then drag this here. Make sure that you navigate with the big plus, touch the small dotted edge here. Once it changes to that small plus, hold your left button down, then drag it. It will automatically what? Analyze orders for you. So even if you have listed 20 unique values, as soon as you drag it, it will give you what? The aggregation for those respective what? Unique variables. So now this is the first part that we just completed. But in data analysis, we don't stop here. So you have to identify the trend. The trend is what? Which one is performing better? We call that KPI, key performance what? Indicator. So if you compare this value, you see that what? Because this is a tabular model. So you can see it's taking me some time to know which one is the highest, just because I'm comparing value. But if I want to know the highest without wasting time, then I have to convert this numerical data to graph. So the graph will easily tell me which one is doing better. So to do that, just highlight the whole of this and then click on this word, quick analysis, which you can also get through what? Ctrl+Q. So once you press it, it's going to what? Expand and display what? The visualization tools. So I'll go to charts, and then I'll choose the best chart that will give me exactly what I want. So clicking on this as without wasting time, Napitor is doing better. So I will go to my PowerPoint or wherever I am documenting my findings and write that after my analysis, after comparing the total gross income generated per city, I came to realize that Napitor generated the highest gross income. With, you must mention that value. With, you capture the value here. With what? The sum of what? 5, 2, 6, 1 points. Then the company also want to know which one is the next. So you now see that followed by followed by if you check here now, they are almost doing the same. But if you look at the value here, if you look at the decimal part, this is followed by Yagon. And then you now also specify in your report that another observation is that you also notice that Yagon and Mandalay are doing almost the same, with the difference of this. So the next time the company want to invest their millions of naira, they have already know which of the city to channel it into. You can see how we have guided them in making decision. So this is why we exist. That is why I told us from that day one class that we are the best candidates to work in company admin or policy work making departments, because we reason like CEO, we reason like manager, and we make decision based on the data status. Any question, please?
Wow,
Any
wow,
questions?
wow.
So I'm going to
Okay.
go for another 10 minutes for you to try it.
And no, excuse me, can you quickly, in 1 minute, touch the removal of duplicates?
Okay, now, so let's copy again. Let's say I'm taking this. Remember I said you shouldn't you shouldn't select the alphabet, because it's going to generate what? A higher area than the area you want to paste. So you select the city, hold down the Control and Shift, and then press the down arrow button, Control C. Then go to where you want to paste it. Let's say I'm pasting here, Control V. Then go to your menus, your tabs. Go to Data, and then select Remove Duplicate, and then identify the column where you have the duplicate, confirm it. That is actually what under what column O, then click OK and select OK. I hope that is clear.
It's clear, it's clear.
All right. So in fact, 5 minutes, 10 minutes is too much. 5 minutes to answer this question and also generate this graph. 5 minutes is 5 minutes for those that are working. What we are going to do is within this 5 minutes, can I come on Mr. Ambrose system, your screen, please. Let's other view what we are doing. Those that are not working, quickly, sir, share your screen. Mrs. Oikosi, hope you are following. Mr. Israel, hope you are following. Just to confirm if you are here.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are coming on your screen now, Mr. Okay, so go ahead.
Okay. I'll to copy the city. So click here, Control Shift downward, copy, go back, Control V. Now, to remove duplicate, from here. You can see my screen, isn't it?
Your screen is blank. You can no longer see what you are doing. If you can, we can't see.
Can you see my
I'm seeing a
screen?
blank. I'm seeing a blank sheet. Maybe you can just unshare and share again.
Yes, your screen is showing.
It's what?
Cannot still see. Just shake. Okay, it's coming up. It's coming up.
It's blank.
No, just hold
No,
on.
it's showing.
Just hold on a bit. It's coming up. Can't
But
see it yet.
someone said he see my screen.
I can see what you are.
Okay, someone
I
say can
can
see.
see it.
Okay, that is from my end then. Okay, continue then. But I
It's
can't.
showing it like your network is bad.
My network.
Okay. I've stopped sharing. Then I'll share again.
I don't think the network is from my end, though. Probably his own network. I think it's from his own end. Can someone else see his screen? But I can't see it here too. Okay, so if that's
Yeah.
Yes, it's showing.
Okay, that means from my end then.
I can see it
Yes,
here.
it's showing. It's showing.
Okay.
Okay.
That means
Okay. So get the total of okay, so equals to sum. It's not from my end. My network is very okay.
okay.
They all say they can see my screen.
Yeah, I'm wondering why I cannot see it.
I can see your screen.
Okay. Okay, just continue. Once you are done, let me know because I can't see it. Okay, I think I can see it now.
What should I do then? Because you're supposed to see my screen.
I'm seeing it now. Go ahead.
There are questions I would have asked, but it's okay. Let me just
I can see your screen.
continue.
Just go ahead. Except if you cannot hear me. Please, can someone else hear me?
Yeah, just a sec. Can you see me now?
Yes, I can see you. I can see you. Go ahead.
Can you see what I'm doing?
I am.
Okay. All right, so equals to sum if then yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. If you can also hear him, please, you can talk.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
If I, yeah, I'm having issue. That's what I'm saying. If you can hear me.
Can you hear me? I can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so go ahead.
Rain. Yeah, you can see where I'm stuck. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, you have already called the range.
You have called the range.
Yes.
Now, you add a comma. You add a comma after calling the range. Please add a comma. That is not where to add a comma after the P. After the P. Maybe you should clear it and take it again so that I can see exactly what you are doing. Okay. So
Okay.
good. Just
Equals
take it
to.
again.
All right. I'll go back.
Yes.
Should I take it from the top? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
No,
Then
no, that is not.
click
That is,
enter.
sorry, that is not the first range. Go back. That is not the first range. Your first
Oh.
range is the selection of city, not gross income. The first range is the selection. Just clear everything and go back now. Good. Go back. His orders. Let's follow what he's doing. City. Click on the C. Click on the C. Click on the letter so that you
Okay.
capture good. Now, comma. Just add a comma. Have you added a comma?
Yeah.
Good. Now switch back to your dashboard. Go back to your dashboard and then
Okay.
pick the first city, Yangon. Select that Yangon. Select good. Then
Okay.
comma. Now
Okay.
go back to the data and select gross income. Gross income.
From the top?
Yes, P, yes. Now press
Okay.
enter here. Press enter here. Press enter.
Okay.
Perfect. Hope you get the logic.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, so you can unshare now. Let's quickly, let me add more.
Yeah. No, the
Okay,
the graph.
No, the graph, not only one column. Select all of them. From city to
Okay.
capture everything. No, the header. Include the header. Good. All right, now click
Okay.
on that quick analysis icon. No, the next one. No, the next one. Yes. Click on it. Then select
Okay.
chart. Select chart category. Chart up.
Oh,
Chart.
okay.
Good.
Charts. Yeah.
Yes. Then we are pick any of them. Pick any one. Good. Just click. All right. So you can now move it and place it where you want to put it. No. That is reduction. Just work with the 4 arrow. We are move like that. Just click and hold down the button. So you are moving the one inside. Make sure that you are on the external borderline. Control Z to take everything back. Good. Click outside first. Click outside. Okay, you want to take it again?
Yeah, come.
Okay. I want to believe others are also watching. Let us always make attempt to work in the class like Mr. Ambrose to help us to wrap up. Don't leave everything for assignment. It might be too much.
So where do you want me to
Yes,
hold?
yes. Click and drag. Yes. Bring it down. Let it be very close to the tabular model. Don't let it be far
Yeah.
from it. Good. Yes. So, but just put some. All right. So now you can unshare. Let's add a few analysis before we draw the curtain. All right. So now, remember I told us the other time that formatting of your work is very key. Formatting is very key. Now, if you look at this, we have to look for a better view of this. So as I click on this, let me take this out. As I click here and then go to design, you see different chart appearance. So you can use any of these. You can choose the one that is giving you the best presentation. So I prefer this because this is tagging, unlike before, this is tagging the value and the city. So this is more explanatory. So you need to make sure that you use the right one. Now, if you want to give each of these bars different color, all you need is just to switch. So if I switch, you see what I did now? As I switch, look at this. This is what came out before. And I noticed that all of them have the same color. Now, in data analysis, that is not, the strength is very weak. because somebody cannot, if not that the margin between this one and this one is obvious. Sometimes it's good you use different color for the bar so that one can easily differentiate. That is the essence of what switching. And now you can see that what you have each of them having different color. So that is for that. Now let's look at another valid analysis question. Like I told you the other time, when we did this summation, we did counting. So the counting, for example, now, if you have written before that Yangon generated the highest, on what basis? The company want to know the factor, what influences Yangon to generate the highest what gross income? Is it that the company had more transaction in Yangon City, in Naypyidaw City, or is it the product they purchased? The company want to know. So you need to also think critical to find out what could have influenced this. So one of the way I'm going to find out the reason why this is doing better, I want to even check the total number of transactions. So let me move this. Let me move this out. So what I'm going to do now, I want to perform counting analysis. So I don't have to start copying everything, start removing duplicates. So I will just duplicate this particular Control-C, and then let's say I want to bring it here. And as you are creating your report, let them form a design, because this is a dashboard. Have a unique way of arranging all your findings that will look beautiful. So that's why I left this two space so that there will be a kind of design. Now, what I want here is not the sum. Here, I want to count what is total count. Total count. That is what I want here, so that I will know why is Naypyidaw doing better. So I will delete this. All right. Now here we are bringing in another function. We are bringing in what? Count if. Count if. The previous one is what? Sum if. That is what? Counting with single criteria. Summing with single criteria. We are coming to multiple criteria. So this set, remember the first one, there was no criteria. We actually adding counting everything. The second category now, we are using single criteria. The next category will be what? Multiple criteria. So that is how we are advancing. So now the question here is, let's say the question is, I want to take this, Control-C, and then merge this, Control. So the question is what? We use caps lock. Analyze the total number of transaction per city. All right. So here, the formula you are going to use is count if. What is the center? Range criteria. Range criteria. So what is the range? The range is what? The city. The city what? Argument. So I'll go back to the data and capture what? Where I have all the city, comma. And then I'll go back to the dashboard and pick the first city. That is all. We are not picking 3 arguments. The reason why we pick 3 arguments when we're working with sum, because we needed value based on that function. Can only add what? Numbers. So I'll press enter here, and then I have what? 340. So if I autofill, you can now see that what? This is a very good observation. You can see that it even has the less number of transactions, but it generated what? The highest. So this call for, so now it is clear to you that this is not doing better because of the number of transactions. Probably it's doing better based on what? The product that were sold. and their what? Their costs. But if not that you perform this now, you wouldn't have known. So that is why it is important you back up your summation analysis with count, because it helps them to know some of the reasons why one variable will be doing better than the other. All right, so just to have a proper formatting, I can format all this with borderline like I showed us the other time. Go to home and then click here and then select all border just to put them in proper perspective. So I can still do this. I think this is better. So let me do this for this. And also this. Then the graph, position is where you know that it will make sense. So if you like, you can also generate graph for this. For that, it's not necessary, but if it is, you can add it under it. To remember the logic, you highlight the whole of that section, then click on this. Now try to mix your graph up. You know, the first one you use, you try using another one, let's say what, pie chart, in order to design your dashboard better. So I can put it here and then also display some value on it. I'll just go to add chart element under design and then select label. I'll say what, call out, so that it can analyze the percentage. So if you look at the percentage is almost the same. The percentage is almost the same. So that is why sometimes we use bar chart like this. Because when you use pie chart, where the value, the differences are not much, you may not actually see the one that is standing out. Any question, please? Any question?
In 1 minute, just touch the process of the count if again. Count if city. I'm just wondering how you got the average, the total count. Just
Okay, here, right? This one here.
yeah.
So let's say I want to repeat it here. So I started by
Yeah.
entering the function count if, and then my range is the selection of where I have this criteria. In my data, those criteria, the city mentioned, are under
Okay.
what? This. The comma.
Okay.
Then I switch back to my dashboard and pick the first city and then press enter.
Okay.
Right? So then after that,
Okay,
I
okay,
go
okay,
to
okay.
fill. All right, so let's answer the last one for this section. Probably in the next class, I'll focus on the multiple because time will not permit us to do that. So there's another one called average if. Average if. Average if. So average if is another statistical function which can be used just like the way we explain the sum. This one we add and divide. So the question here is, let's say I want to change the question. I want to analyze the total average per product line, per product line. So product line is like the different kind of products that they have. So I'll quickly take this because I have to mention the unique product, copy. I have to remove duplicate again. Then let me paste it here. And then go to data tab and then click on remove duplicate, confirm the column and click. So I have only the unique word product line. So I have to specify the next header, which is what? Starting with total sum. Total sum. So let me just say gross income. Gross income. So I'll click here to expand it. So the question, let me mesh this together and put the question there. Now the question is, what is Let me use, okay, so to align. Okay, let me continue. What is the total average? Total average gross income per product per product line, right? So per product line, so the function is average if. Now, if you look at this, the syntax is range, the criteria, the average range. So the first one, now the range is where you have the criteria value. The criteria that will be used to sum up the gross income will be what? This unique what? Product. So where do you have them? You shift to your data set. And then this time around, I have to capture everything I have under F. Then comma. Then I'll go back to my dashboard and then pick the first one. The comma, the values I'm aggregating. Go back to the data and then capture what? The gross income. Capture the gross income. Capture the gross income. So select P and then press enter. So this is the what? The total average. So I can double click on that dotted edge to generate result for others. So I need to also report the highest trending products. So which means that I have to also, I like this. Now, this format that I've given to this, I want to automatically what? Add it to this. So let's say I've spent some time beautifying this and I want to spend that time again. That is wasting of time. So just select this one that you have already designed. Just select it and then click on this command that say what? Format painter. Format painter. Once you click, you are saying that extract the appearance of this one and give it to any area that I highlighted. So automatically, instead of you taking it on this. Now, to plot the graph, so I will select only this. So you can see that you will have plotted your graph before that so that you will not select, so that your selection can be limited to just those two columns. Then click on this. Then I will use charts and then I'll choose, let's say this, right? So remember, like I said, you have to design your work. Let all this form a design. So you need to arrange this. So I can take this out. Have it here. So I discovered that this particular text, we need to wrap it so that it will be within it. But because we have merged, let's see if the wrapping will work. So because we have already merged. So let's say I unmerge. So I come back here. I come back here and I select what? Unmerge. So which means that what? The remaining value, the remaining information are wrapping. So if I want to see them, that is where I'll choose this. So now, because we have already widened this, let's maintain it like this. So I just want to make sure that it doesn't cover it, so I can put it here. So with this, I can easily see what? The most performing products, which is what? Home and what? Lifestyle. Followed by sports and what? Travel. Then you should be able to write your report by highlighting the trend. And then at the end of the day, your outlier is the difference between the highest and the lowest. So which means that you must always identify the least, subtract it from the highest, and then you get the differences. Sometimes the company need to know that difference before they can make certain decision. So any question, please, I'll leave us here. Then what we are expected to do before the next class, please, let's get different data sets or work on this one, answer the same question all the way from here. All the analysis we performed so far, try and replicate them. Any question before we close the session?
Yeah, not for me.
So there's no question. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
You said we should do the assignment for the next class.
Yes. Everything, the video we get to you, watch the video, pause it, replicate everything down to where I stop.
Okay, you post the video to us.
No, yes, I will send the video to you, the video link, so that you
Okay.
can go through it while you are on your Excel with this data that I sent to you. Then answer all these questions. You can pause the video and follow it up. Make sure that in that next class, every one of you will preview your workings like this. I have to see what and what you did before we proceed.
Okay.
So the next class, we are going to continue with multiple criteria aggregation using the same functions. Because what we did here now is that the criteria we use is summing all this. It's just what? The product. So if the company say, okay, sum of the gross income per product where the total is greater than or where the date is equal to a particular date or where payment is e-wallet, that is multiple what? Dimensions. So that is what we are going to look at in the next class, and that is advanced. So what we have done today now is the basic and the intermediate Excel aggregate functions. Application in data analysis. That is what we have covered in this session. Any question, please? So if there's no question, thank you for joining. See you on Tuesday.
Thank you, sir.
Good night.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.